Hi everyone, and welcome to Lipstick on a Rig. Today we're going to be making this very simple vintage tiny backpack. And when I finished my tiny backpack in my hollow air plant holder, I had roughly this amount of yarn left over, so I will definitely be doing a 2-skein challenge to finish out my skein of yarn here. And this video does have a precursor video, and that is my how to crochet a single crochet circle using a continuous loop pattern. And I will link to that video in the description. And for our precursor video, I crocheted 12 rows of my single crochet stitch, and my last row had 72 single crochet stitches. Then once you're done with your flat circle, then all you're going to do is place one single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch in each row. And we're just literally going to be repeating that until we build the body of our backpack. So you're just going to place your single crochets in this back loop only. And since this is a continuous loop pattern, you don't have to worry about starting and stopping your individual rows because this is going to act like a spiral. And I went ahead and followed that pattern of placing one single crochet in the back loop only for 27 rows. And I tried to roughly line up the end of my last row with this first little single crochet in the back loop only from our first row. And from here, we're going to slip stitch into our next stitch right here, and then we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to place one double crochet in the back loop only of each stitch in our row. And that does include the stitch where you've placed your slip stitch and your chain 2. Go ahead and place one double crochet in the back loop only of each stitch in this row. And at the end of your row, make sure you skip your slip stitch and your chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet stitch. Then we're going to chain 60. And once you have your 60 chains in place, then you're going to want to loosen up your loop for your crochet hook and remove it. Then we're going to cut our yarn. Next, we're just going to weave our chain stitches going in and out in between our double crochet stitches, going all the way around our row. And I am going to weave mine roughly about every 2 double crochet stitches, so it should look something like this. So go ahead and weave your chain going all the way around your row. And once you're done weaving your chain, then you're just going to slip stitch back up into the top of that same stitch where you just slip stitched before the end of the last row. And then we're just going to tie off our yarn. And I am going to weave my tail in the opposite direction that I was crocheting. And we're going to attach the yarn to our crochet hook using a slip knot again. So I went ahead and folded my backpack down. So this is my first single crochet in the back loop only. And working in this last row where we placed our double crochets in the back loop only, we're going to insert our crochet hook in that first front loop only. And we're going to place a single crochet. And then we're going to place one single crochet in our next 29 stitches. And once you have your 30 single crochets, it should look something like this. So from here, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're just going to place one single crochet in each stitch in our row. And at the end of our row, we're just going to chain 1 and turn our work. And from here, I'm just going to repeat the last row over and over to build the body of my flap. And for this row, I'm going to crochet over my tail. And I crocheted that until I had 14 rows for my flap. And next, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to single crochet our first 2 stitches together. So to do that, insert your crochet hook up underneath your first stitch and yarn over and pull through. Then up underneath your second stitch and yarn over and pull through. Then you're going to yarn over and drop all 3 loops on your crochet hook. And from here, we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch in our row until we get to our last 2 stitches. And we're going to single crochet together our last 2 stitches just like we did for the first 2. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And for this row and the next row, we're going to repeat the last row. So we're going to single crochet together our first 2 stitches, and then we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch in our row until we get to our last 2 stitches, and we're going to single crochet those together. And every row should decrease by 2. So our last row should have 28 single crochets, and at the end of our next 2 rows we should have 24 single crochets. And once you have your 24 single crochets, then we're going to create our buttonhole. So we're going to begin by single crocheting together our first 2 stitches, just like we've been doing. Then we're going to place 1 single crochet in our next 8 stitches. And then we're going to place 1 double crochet in our next stitch. Then we're going to chain 1 and skip our next stitch. And in that following stitch, we're going to place another double crochet. And that is how you create your buttonhole. And from here, we're going to place 1 single crochet in the rest of our stitches in our row until we get to the last 2 stitches, and we're going to single crochet those together. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So we're going to be single crocheting together our first 2 stitches and placing a single crochet in every stitch after that until we get to our last 2 stitches. But we're going to be doing something kind of weird at the buttonhole. And once you get to the chain stitch at the top of your buttonhole, what you're going to do is insert your crochet hook in the hole. Yarn over and pull up through the hole, and then yarn over and drop your 2 loops. Then you're just going to continue on with the pattern. And again, at the end of our row, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And from here, we're just going to follow that same pattern of single crocheting together our first 2 stitches, placing 1 single crochet in every stitch until we get to our last 2 stitches, and we're going to single crochet those together as well. And we're going to repeat that until we get down to 10 stitches in our row. And once you've gotten your last row down to 10 stitches, then we're just going to cut and tie off our yarn. And next we are going to attach the yarn to our crochet hook using a slip knot. And then working on the back side of your backpack, locate that first stitch where you crocheted in the back loop only right here. And you're going to insert your crochet hook in that available front loop right there. And then you're going to yarn over and pull up through the loop, and then yarn over and drop 2 loops. We're going to repeat that in the next 4 front loops. And once you have your 5 single crochets in place, it should look like this. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each of our 5 stitches. And at the end of our row, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work again. And for this row, I'm just going to repeat the last row, but I'm going to crochet over my tail. And we're just going to keep repeating that last row to build the body of our strap. So go ahead and crochet your strap by placing 1 single crochet in each of your 5 strap stitches until you get this to your desired length. And we're going to be connecting the strap to the top of the flap up here to this last row of single crochets. And I went ahead and crocheted my strap to 25 inches. And make sure you've placed a chain at the end of your last row. And then we're just going to insert our crochet hook in our first stitch here. And then you're going to try to find one of these front loops that corresponds with the edge of your flap, so right here. And then you're just going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on your crochet hook for a slip stitch. And you're just going to repeat that process, so insert your crochet hook in your next stitch and in your next front loop. And we're just going to repeat this for all the stitches of our strap. And once you're done attaching your strap, then you're just going to cut and tie off your yarn. And I am going to hide my tail on the inside of my backpack. And we're just going to repeat that process on the other side of our backpack for our other strap. And once you're done with your straps, they should look something like this. Next, we're going to turn our backpack over and cinch up the top. And then you're going to fold your flap forward, and where your buttonhole lines up is where you should place your button on your backpack. And after you have attached your button, your backpack should look like this. And you might find it helpful to iron down your flap here if it's curling up a lot. Please let me know in the comments below if you experienced any issues while you were making this, and I will do my best to help you out. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Lipstick on a Rig. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.